There comes a time in life, often after the children have grown and flown the nest, when a quiet ache begins to form in the hearts of many parents. You raised them with love, made sacrifices, and did your best. Yet now there's distance, disrespect, or worse, silence. It's one of the most painful experiences a parent can face. Not because you expect to be repaid, but because deep down you long for connection, mutual respect, and to still matter in their lives. If you've ever felt ignored, dismissed, or treated like an afterthought by your adult children, please know this: you are not alone. And more importantly, it is not too late to change the dynamic. In today's video, we'll gently explore 6 powerful steps you can take to reclaim your dignity and rebuild the respect that may have faded over time. These aren't quick fixes, but they are honest, empowering choices rooted in strength, not guilt. At Senior Wellness, we believe your voice still matters. Your presence still carries weight, and you deserve to be seen, valued, and respected. If this message speaks to your heart, please subscribe to the channel. Like this video, and share your story in the comments below. You never know who might feel comforted by your words. Let's begin with grace and with strength. You stop chasing their approval, reclaim your inner peace. One of the most difficult truths for any parent to accept is this: the more you chase your children's approval, the less likely they are to offer you the respect you truly deserve. When you constantly go out of your way to please them, saying yes when you mean no, avoiding honest conversations, just to keep the peace, or giving more than you can afford, you may think you're showing love. But often it sends the wrong message that your worth depends on how useful, agreeable, or convenient you are to them. The truth is, respect does not come from sacrifice, it comes from self-respect. Your children will treat you according to how you treat yourself. If you allow yourself to be walked over, if you constantly seek their validation, you may unintentionally teach them that your needs don't matter, that your feelings are negotiable. But when you stand in quiet confidence, when you honor your own time, energy, and boundaries, you invite your children to do the same. Respect flows from clarity, not from overgiving. Letting go of their approval doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you stop tying your value to their reactions. You don't need to prove your love. It's already there in every memory you've built, every meal you've cooked, every night you stayed up waiting. At Senior Wellness, we believe real freedom begins when you reclaim your emotional space. You've earned the right to be heard, not just tolerated, to be valued, not just used. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It starts with one simple reminder: you are enough, even if they don't always see it. When you stop chasing approval, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel your own strength return. You stand taller. And often your children begin to notice and adjust, not because you demanded it, but because you modeled it. This is the wisdom that only life can teach, and it's why. Senior living is not just about growing older, it's about growing into your true power. Don't argue. Led by example, with quiet strength. When your children speak to you harshly or dismiss your opinion, the natural reaction is to defend yourself, to explain, to argue, but often arguments only deepen the divide and create more emotional distance. Raising your voice, trying to prove your point, or listing all the things you've done for them may seem justified, but in many cases it only invites more resistance. Why? Because arguments push people into defense mode. They stop listening. Walls go up and love gets buried beneath pride. Instead of arguing, try something more powerful. Model the behavior you want to see. Speak with calm. Set boundaries without drama. Respond to disrespect with quiet dignity. When you stay grounded, when you speak without shouting and walk away, without punishing words, you send a message that's far stronger than any lecture. This is how a respectful adult behaves. This is how I choose to live. Your children may not notice right away, but over time, consistent calmness creates something rare: emotional safety. It gives them space to reflect, to see the difference between reaction and response, and eventually they may begin to mirror that steadiness back to you. At Senior Wellness, we believe your example is your legacy. You don't need to force respect through loud voices. You earn it slowly and quietly by living it. And remember, choosing peace isn't weakness, it's strength, it's wisdom. It's the kind of maturity that grows deeper with age. So the next time tension rises, take a breath, speak slowly, step away if you must. Your silence can carry more power than their words. This is senior living at its finest. Leading, not pushing, guiding, not demanding. And building bridges, not walls. Withdraw your emotional dependence. Reclaim your inner stability. As parents, it's natural to love deeply, to care, to worry, to want to feel included in your children's lives. But when that care turns into emotional dependence, the relationship often becomes unbalanced and painful. If your mood rises and falls based on how often they call, how kindly they speak, or whether they visit, you may be unknowingly placing your sense of worth in their hands. Over time, this quiet neediness can push them away instead of drawing them closer. The truth is, respect doesn't grow where there's pressure. It grows where there is calm confidence. Your emotional well-being should never depend on how your children treat you. Yes, you love them, but they are not the source of your happiness, identity, or peace. When you begin to detach emotionally, not in anger but with grace, you give yourself the gift of freedom. You stop waiting, you stop aching, and you start filling your own cup through joy, friendships, hobbies, faith, or new experiences that are yours and yours alone. This kind of inner stability is powerful. It shifts the energy. Suddenly your children are no longer dealing with someone who's fragile or overly invested in their attention. Instead, they see a parent who is steady, strong, and content. That changes how they treat you at Senior Wellness. We believe emotional independence is a key to holistic health. It protects your heart, it strengthens your mind, and it allows you to show up in your relationships. From a place of self-respect, not quiet desperation, let your love remain, but take back the power of your emotions. You are whole on your own, and your peace no longer depends on someone else's approval, time, or affection. This is what senior living truly means. Choosing inner balance over outer control, and finding joy that begins within, is set boundaries and enforce them. Teach others how to treat you. As a parent, you may have spent decades giving your time, your energy, your support. And for much of that time, giving was your way of showing love. But there comes a point in life where love must also include limits, especially when respect begins to fade. One of the most powerful ways to regain respect from your children is to clearly, calmly, and consistently set healthy boundaries. And most importantly, to follow through on them. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to better relationships. They let others know what is and isn't acceptable in how they treat you. Without them, you risk being taken for granted, overrun with requests, or spoken to in ways that leave you hurt. When you express your needs, whether it's about how often they call, how they speak to you, or what kind of help you're willing to offer, you are not being difficult. You are being clear. And clarity is a gift to any relationship. But boundaries mean little if they are not enforced. If you tell someone their tone is hurtful but still continue the conversation, the boundary fades. If you say no to a request but later give in out of guilt, the pattern returns. At Senior Wellness, we believe boundaries are a core part of senior wisdom. They don't push people away, they create the structure for real respect to grow. Boundaries say, I value myself, I expect to be treated with dignity. I still love you, but I will not accept behavior that wounds me. And that shift in energy when you stop tolerating and start honoring. Your space often leads others to rise and meet you where you stand. Setting limits isn't about being harsh, it's about being honest with yourself and those you love. It's choosing emotional safety over silent resentment. This is the strength of senior living. Knowing your worth, speaking it out loud, and gently shaping relationships to reflect the respect you truly deserve. Stop giving without appreciation. Protect your generosity with dignity. Giving has always been a natural part of being a parent, whether it was time, money, care, or emotional support you gave, because you love. But when giving becomes expected and appreciation fades, it's time to pause and reflect. If your children now take your kindness for granted, if they call only when they need something, or if they accept your help without acknowledgement, it may be a sign that your giving is no longer building connection but quietly eroding your self-worth. Respect and gratitude go hand in hand. When you continue to give without being valued, it sends a message not just to them but to yourself that your time and energy aren't worth much. Over time, this can leave you feeling invisible, used, or emotionally drained. That's why one of the most empowering choices you can make is to give only when it's met with respect. That doesn't mean you become cold or selfish. It means you give from a place of balance, not obligation. If a child consistently dismisses your efforts or speaks to you with disrespect, It's okay to step back. You are not required to fix everything. You are not responsible for their comfort at the cost of your own peace. At Senior Wellness, we believe that chata, healthy giving, is part of holistic health. It must flow both ways: kindness and appreciation, support and acknowledgement. When giving is mutual, it strengthens relationships, but when it's one-sided, it breeds resentment. This is not about punishment, it's about self-respect. You are allowed to say, "I'm here when you're ready to treat me with kindness." You are allowed to say no without guilt. Sometimes withholding your help is the very thing that reminds others just how much you've always offered. It creates space for appreciation to return. This is part of senior living. Learning that your presence is not a service, it's a gift, and gifts are meant to be cherished, not expected. So give, but only when your heart is honored, not ignored. Build a life outside of them. Rediscover your own joy and meaning. For many years, your life may have revolved around your children, their needs, their dreams, their milestones. You gave everything with love. But now that they're grown and living their own lives, it's time to ask, who are you beyond being their parent? If your days feel empty without their calls, or your mood depends on whether they visit, it's a sign that it's time to reclaim your own identity, reclaim your own. Not because you love them any less, but because your life still holds deep purpose even outside of them. This is your chapter now. A season for rediscovery, growth, and fulfillment on your own terms. Start by asking, what brings me joy? Maybe it's gardening, painting, volunteering, walking in the park, or joining a local book club. Maybe it's reconnecting with old friends or finally learning something you never had time for before. These aren't just hobbies. They're core acts of self-respect. When you create a life filled with meaning and connection, something shifts. You no longer wait for their attention to feel whole. You bring your own light to the table, and often your children begin to notice that glow because confidence and contentment are magnetic. At Senior Wellness, we believe this is a vital part of senior living. A life well lived in your later years doesn't depend on others. It grows from the inside out. Your happiness is yours to build, one day, one choice at a time, and in the spirit of holistic health. Emotional freedom, creativity, and a sense of purpose are just as essential as physical well-being. When your life is rich with meaning, you no longer feel invisible, you feel alive. So love your children, yes, but don't live through them. Live beside them. And most of all, live for yourself. 2. Because you are still becoming, and your story still matters. If you've ever felt unseen, unappreciated, or disrespected by your children, please know you are not alone. And more importantly, your value has never disappeared. It lives in your strength, your wisdom, and your quiet courage to grow even now. Reclaiming respect isn't about demanding it, it's about remembering who you are. When you stop chasing approval, set clear boundaries, nurture your own joy, and lead by quiet example, something beautiful happens. Others begin to rise to meet the dignity you've chosen to walk in. At Senior Wellness, we believe that aging is not about fading into the background. It's about stepping fully into the light of your own becoming. So live with purpose, speak with calm, give with care, and never forget you still matter more than you know. If this video spoke to your heart, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice might be the one that lifts someone else today. Until next time, take good care of yourself.